Okay, we are now live, everybody. Welcome to Social Media for Tourism. This is a Google Plus Hangout that we put together, hosted by myself, Hootsuite. My name is Connor Meakin. I'm the community manager for the Americas at Hootsuite. But we've got some awesome panelists here today to share some insight on social media for tourism strategy, tips, and how you can really get the most bang for your buck executing social. So first we have Stephanie Hynes from Contiki, Canada. We have Bob Kronbauer from Vancouver is Awesome, which is a great local website here. And we have Alicia Taggio from Flight Centre Canada. So maybe I'll just invite Stephanie to quickly tell us what you do and how you got into working at Contiki. I think you're muted, Stephanie.
I'm no longer mute. Hi, my name is Stephanie Hynes. I am the brand and marketing manager for Contiki Holidays Canada. I've had about 8 years previous marketing experience in social media marketing between tourism, entertainment, and music. So now I head up the marketing department here at Contiki, and I oversee all of the social media marketing that we do for Canada.
Awesome. And next we have Bob Kronbauer. Bob, why don't you tell us a bit about yourself?
So yeah, I'm Bob Kronbauer, and I'm the founder and the editor-in-chief of VancouverisAwesome.com, which is a local website, and we have obviously social media extensions. We do an annual magazine, and we're a part of a larger network, the flagship of a larger network called the Canada is Awesome Media Network, and we have sites in Calgary, Toronto, and Squamish, and currently we're expanding with new licensees all the time.
Awesome. And lastly, we have the lovely Alicia Taggio. Alicia, why don't you tell us a bit about yourself?
Hi. My name is Alicia. I have been with Flight Centre for just over 3.5 years now. Flight Centre is a global brand. It started in Australia, and we operate in hundreds of countries across the world now, and I operate all their social media and new media here in Canada.
Awesome. Okay, well, let's get right into it. We've got a pretty easy first question we're going to riff on here, and I'm really curious to get some of your thoughts. So, why is social media important for the tourism industry? Stephanie, why don't you lead us off here?
Sure. Social media for the tourism industry is really important for several reasons, and I'm sure that we're all going to have similarities into why it's important to us, but individually, really why it's important for each of our brands. And for us, for Contiki, it allows us to interact and engage with our community. And it's a free form of advertising, which is always great. And it really allows us to see into our consumers, which is really important to us. And with that, through social media, we can see culturally what our following is into, what they're looking for, where they live, who they are. So for tourism, it's really important, social media-wise, in order to see into who our consumer is.
Awesome. I'm just going to mention quickly, I forgot to in the opening, we're also doing a live Twitter chat concurrently with this. So if you'd like to chat with other people about this, use hashtag social6060. We're going to be chatting it up over there, and we're going to be fielding some questions from Twitter as well at the end if time permits. So I'll invite you all to start tweeting up a storm, and yeah, there's my quick plug for you guys. Okay, so Bob, why is social media important for the tourism industry?
Well, I've been thinking about this a lot since we got the list of questions, and it's kind of interesting that social media, it's just kind of built in. It's like as a sort of marketing tool for a company, for any sort of brand, it's sort of the perfect one for tourism, because let's say it's like for getting your consumers to talk about you. Like let's say you're a dish soap brand, right? Like you use Ivory dish soap. It's how often is somebody going to Instagram a photo of themselves naturally without being prompted, without winning something, saying, hey, here's me, I'm using Ivory dish soap. Isn't this great? Isn't this experience the greatest thing in the world? But with tourism, it's like you go to Calgary, hey, I'm in Calgary. Here's something great about Calgary, just naturally. So it's like, I mean, there's obviously differences between products, like Herschel Supply Company does a really good job because their product is just really cool, and if you buy one of those bags, you're gonna post it on your Instagram or tweet it or whatever. But I feel that social media is really important because tourism as a product is not a product so much.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. And I was actually talking to some people at South by Southwest about how I think I mentioned that doing social media for tourism would be like fishing with dynamite, because you've got all this beautiful content, all these beautiful pictures. All you got to do is just post them. So that's my sort of naive perspective on things, being completely outside the industry. But anyways, Alicia, why do you think social media is important for tourism and what you've learned?
Well, I come from a background from the television background, so in traditional media, generally it's a one-way conversation, right? You're putting a message out there, where social media, you put a message out there and you get an immediate response back. If you put a marketing message out there and people don't like it, they're going to tell you right away, that's a crappy deal, I don't like that. So it's really interesting. We're getting a lot of feedback from people, whether they like things or don't like things. But I think it's really powerful because from a travel agency perspective, it allows us to communicate with people before the booking experience, during the booking experience, and after. And obviously, it's so great to be able to follow people when they're on their trips, and if they're posting Instagrams and including us in their trip and involving us in the conversation, that's even better. But yes, you can post photos, inspirational photos of destinations. That's an easy one for sure. But I think it's more than just engaging people. It's creating a dialogue, and it's listening to what they have to say. And I think from a customer service standpoint, it's really valuable to us as a travel agency.
Cool. I'm just kind of curious. How do you guys keep track of some of your customers and community while they're on vacation? Like, do you encourage them to tag certain photos in a certain way, or?
Yeah, we have people use the hashtag Flight Center. Very simple and easy, so they can't forget. And yeah, we basically encourage people to put that, when they're out traveling, and we're basically letting that be known that that's the hashtag we want you to use when you're traveling. But some people just tweet us directly. Our @FlightCenterCA handle is becoming more and more well known now, and I think that helps through some of the contesting and some of the brand exercises that we've done in the past.
Cool, that's awesome. Anyone else have anything to add that's come up since we've been chatting here, or we good to go here? Good to go, sweet. Okay, so we're talking about the summer. Summer's all about tourism, at least in our half of the world it is. What are some of the trends you guys are seeing this summer in terms of social media for tourism? Is it more pictures, videos? Is it certain destinations? What sort of things are you guys seeing? Maybe Bob, do you want to lead us off here?
Yeah, one of the things that I've been seeing for the past little while that is, it seems like kind of the perfect way to approach it is sending out or bringing in Instagram influencers. Like I know that Contiki, you guys did it a while ago with a company called Stay and Wander, and basically what they do is they get super influential Instagram followers with 52x 100,000 followers, and they bring them in to do a trip specifically. So it's like I was saying in the beginning, where hey, you're in Calgary and you're tweeting about it and you're saying all these great things about your trip, but it's on purpose. And so they bring in social media influencers, and in the end they end up getting all that imagery as well. So you're kind of hiring a photographer at the same time.
Yeah, it's super.
I was wondering, Alicia, how was that experience with Contiki? I mean, with Stay and Wander.
Well, actually, it's interesting you mentioned that, because that's exactly what I was going to say. Is one of our trends is for for the summertime is with Contiki, for example, we have a road trip that's going to be going this summer around Europe. So, to what you said, Bob, this is our third year now in a row that we're doing the road trip. Last year was Australia, the year before was Europe, and again this year we're taking a group of vloggers and bloggers on the road with us to experience the Contiki product. And the amazing thing about it is that we have this group of people that are connecting together on our trip, but they're also producing content as well too, and the content is from their perspective, which is kind of amazing. So when they first experience Florence, or when they first experience Barcelona, where we're taking them, where's their, what type of imagery are they looking to post, and kind of what type of vlog or blog are they looking to write about with the Contiki experience. So it's definitely really important for us to have the travel bloggers and vloggers on these trips with us. And in particularly in the summertime, there's so much tourism and so much travel that's going on that I think that it's a prime time for anybody in the tourism industry to kind of highlight the specific tours that they're doing. And if you go onto Contiki.com/road trip, you can see all the information. You can follow along with them at the same time. It's pretty amazing.
So there's like, this is sort of a riff on on a sort of traditional media plan where you would bring in writers for a fam trip, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So for anybody that's not listening, a fam trip is basically that. They bring in a bunch of writers, but it's not like, it's a live thing. Anybody that doesn't know,
Yeah, it's a familiarization trip.
Yeah, and so here's a question. Are you bringing bloggers and traditional media on the same fam trip?
No.
No, they're separate.
Yeah, this is specific to vloggers that we're bringing on. So it's people with large social networks through YouTube. So it's really, the top YouTubers across the world. But YouTubers across the world that connect with Contiki. So we're not just bringing people because of their followings. I mean, obviously that's a bonus, but really we're focused on what fits with the Contiki brand. So we have done the Instagrammers as well too. So for example, we did the Contiki storytellers. So the Contiki storytellers, which is Contiki.com/storytellers. For that, we had a selection of bloggers, we had vloggers, we had photographers, all influential as well too, all that fit with the Contiki brand and kind of our Contiki values. And we brought them to Costa Rica to take part in our sea turtle conservatory. So yeah, so definitely the trend for summer is, I think the trend always, not just summer. Specifically for us, the summertime is really big with the road trip. But we've brought in several different non-traditional media.
Yeah, we recently did something similar in Australia, actually. We worked with influential photographers on Instagram, and we did 2 major press trips, one with the Tourism New Zealand and another one with Tourism Queensland. And basically we found photographers who have really big followings on Instagram, who are very influential, and we flew them all out there and had them, live Instagramming and taking lots of pictures. And then right after that, after they engaged people with these images about this destination, we went live with a campaign about, New Zealand deals or Queensland deals for the second trip. And the amount of content that we got from it was absolutely incredible. The images that were provided to us from these photographers are unreal. They're not just taking photos on their phone. They're actually taking photos on their DSLR cameras and sending them wirelessly to their phones, and then Instagramming these DSLR beautiful images. So Instagram, it's interesting because it's a mix of both mobile photography and DSLR photography. So you're having such a wide variety of people using it now to showcase images and destinations, and it's definitely a huge trend this summer, and I think it's going to continue right through for the rest of the year. It's just people connect with images at the end of the day. They're so powerful.
So do you get a pretty good ROI after you do that? Like you said, you have the campaign for the sale or whatever it is launches directly after that. Do you notice a spike?
Yeah, there's definitely a spike not only in the sales, but also in growing our community. We find a lot of the Instagrammers start following the Flight Center account, and usually we try and run a contest right after that where people can win a trip to that destination now that they've been so engaged by it. Because I think that's, when you're dangling it in front of their face and then you don't have an opportunity for them to win a trip there, that's kind of mean to do. But But yeah, so we usually do a contest right after that too, where we can now capture some of that data, have people, you know, choose to opt into our newsletter if they want in the process. So we really can capture some of the data. But also too, we have those Instagrammers promote those contests for us as well. So we provide them with, you know, special images or just some guidelines on what we want them to say in their Instagrams, in the description of the Instagram about how people can enter the contest. Usually it's, you know, put together a creative post about why you want to go to New Zealand or something and use this hashtag. And then we monitor that hashtag, and that's, you know, sort of how we choose the winner.
So here's a question you don't have to answer if you don't want to, but are you paying the Instagrammers, or is it just like a regular fam trip and it's just the trip?
No, the Instagrammers absolutely get paid. We not only, you know, the tourism board sort of covers the tourism side of things, the flights and what's in destination, but we pay them a daily rate for the fact that they're working. We treat it as, you know, a job. They're capturing photos for us, and content, you know, it's not free all the time, especially when it's such a high quality and it's DSLR photos. So yeah, we do pay the Instagrammers, yeah.
Wow, that's super interesting.
I know, it's so cool.
Yeah, it's really cool. Do you so Steph, how do you find the YouTube, you know, rock stars and the YouTube bloggers? Do you guys have a tool you use, or are you looking at, you know, subscribers? How do you find them?
How do you find them? A lot of it's based on recommendations, really, to tell you the truth. So, you know, Contiki is a global company worldwide. So we have our Canadian arm of it, but then we also have the UK, we have Australia, we have Asia, we have the US, and so on and so forth. So basically what we do is we make recommendations to our global head office and tell them, you know, there's these YouTubers and bloggers that are really kind of interesting to Canadians, and really in each market, and I'm sure, Alicia, you can speak to this as well too, is like each market is different with the Flight Center as well too. So somebody who is really popular in Australia might not be as popular in Canada. So we really want to make sure that it's a mix and a group of people, which is great for the people that we're asking the bloggers to come onto this as well too, because it's building out their network as well. So yes, I mean, there's like different ways that we go about it, but definitely it's based on recommendations, what we see in market, and who is kind of engaging, and who we're fans of, really, to tell you the truth. Like, we're the Contiki travelers, we work for Contiki, and who is engaging us on social media. So that's kind of basically what kind of first step to it. I mean, obviously, there's a lot of different YouTubers and bloggers that have great followings as well too. But again, as I mentioned, you know, we really want to make sure that the integrity of who Contiki is and who the Contiki traveler also comes across in that as well too. So that's another kind of factor that we bring together, which is really important in tourism. And I'm sure this will probably come up in more questions as well too. But you know, getting to know who your audience is really important, and we want to be able to source people that come to the table and are engaging towards our travelers.
Cool. I'm also kind of curious, how strict are you with the expectations for like these videos? You know, Alicia sort of mentioned a bit about how they do it with Instagram. Are you like, okay, it's got to be, you know, less than a minute or 2 minutes or whatever, this is going to be the content?
No, really, to tell you the truth, when we're working with any kind of partners, obviously, you know, we want somebody's own artistic integrity to come through. So whether we're dealing with a photographer or whether we're dealing with a vlogger or a storyteller, we want to make sure that it's as beneficial for them as it is for us. So we want for them to create content based on their Contiki experience. So we don't really have any kind of, you know, marketing stipulations as, you know, you need to provide this, and that. But we obviously, you know, want for the content to be engaging. We want for the content to be on par with Contiki, but also for the vlogger as well too. So, and most of the partners that we're working on this, they're professionals as well too. And a lot of these vloggers, this is their full-time position. They are making blogs and videos 2 to 3 times a week. So usually they're pretty savvy with social media as well too, so they know what works as far as social media. So we don't really usually have to give them a list of what we're doing. It's kind of free reign. We want for you to come on this Contiki and experience it and tell us your story through your own channels, the way that you would with anything else that you would tell a story about.
Interesting. I have a bunch of other questions about influencers because I find it super interesting. But for the sake of time, maybe we'll move along here. I think we already got to some of this, but we'll come to it quickly, anyways. So what social networks are you guys finding the most success with right now? I have a feeling we already know the answers, but Alicia, why don't you kick us off? Surprise us.
Well, aside from Instagram, since we've just spent the past 10 minutes talking about it, really our bread and butter has always been Facebook, and the reason is because we're able to target people so well with Facebook. And right now, our big focus is getting the right messages out to the right people. At Flight Centre, we sell packages to, the Contiki demographic, but we also sell river cruises to people who are in their 50s and 60s, right? So it's really important that we're catering right messages to the right age demographics and even just what's happening across Canada in the different time zones, right? So I think what I like about Facebook is it allows us to really target the right people. And I know, like with Twitter, you can target geographically. If I'm doing Twitter advertising, I can target certain provinces, which is great. But other than that, I can't really go any much deeper. Whereas Facebook, you really can go pretty deep depending on how much people have filled out their profiles. From a marketing perspective, I love it. It is a bit creepy and Big Brother-ish on the other hand, but at the end of the day, do you want to see an advertisement that has absolutely nothing to do with you and you don't care about river cruising, in Europe, for example? Probably not, right? So we really try and pay attention to what are people in this demographic, what are they buying, what are they, engaging with us most about, and let's, build packages and create messages for them. So yeah, Facebook is definitely bread and butter for us.
Cool. Bob, what about yourself? I know you guys are all over Twitter. Anything else in particular?
Facebook, yeah. Facebook is our red winner lately. And it's interesting because, we don't have a product like the other two on the panel. We're just, telling people about what's great in Vancouver, and our ad revenue. I mean, our business model is based on ad revenue. So the more people that go to our website, the more money we make, in theory. But Facebook, when they changed the algorithm maybe a few months ago, maybe a year ago, where it was like you weren't able to access all of your followers anymore, like we went from like everybody sees it to only a few people see it, right? And I saw some editorials about it and read a bunch of stuff from other publishers that was like, give us our Facebook back, It's like I'm petitioning this, but we sort of went the other way with it and just decided to play the game a little bit and promote posts, like strategically promote posts. And what happened was, based on really small buys, we started to increase our followers. Not only were we getting hundreds of likes on photos and posts again, but our readership increased. So I'll give you some numbers, and I'm saying this because, like, for people that are running small businesses that are listening, it's like it's worth it to just like put aside a budget of like $50 a month, just experiment with it. Because in 2012 we had 8,000 followers to our page. 2013 we had 12,000, so that was like an increase of 50%. And then at the same time this year we had 36,000. So we went from 12,000 to 36,000. So like a 300% jump based on a few $100s in our budget every month put towards promoting posts. I mean, obviously, and our content is the best content in the world. But, it's based around like, not just paying money, but having a good something interesting for people.
It's interesting how content speaks for itself, and it's kind of funny how you talk about the edge rank and stuff, and how like there's this crazy call to arms on the internet about how Facebook's like hijacking your newsfeed and all this stuff, and people were having. It was basically like a big pity party, kind of like when Google always changes their search algorithms. So I mean, it's going to keep happening, and I think people just have to adjust like you have, and you've obviously laid out some pretty cool examples. Do you guys do any like targeted ads, or is it mostly just promoted posts?
Sort of. In a way, it's like a targeted ad, because usually when I'll promote a post, I don't promote it to our following. I promote it to people within 25 miles of Vancouver that are this age range to this age range. So usually, and it'll just be like a post, like a blog post about something great. And so people will just see it in their feed and be like, oh, what's this? This is neat, and then discover us and follow that way.
Cool. And are you posting pictures with a link below them, or are you posting sort of like the native links?
Yeah, yeah. Generally, it's just the native links. Like we'll post a link and then it pulls up the thumbnail. And then, but if it's just a photo, sometimes like I was gonna say that it's sort of important for us that all of our social networks bounce off each other and feed into each other. So the Facebook page usually leads back to a blog post, but sometimes it'll be just something random.
Cool. And are you, one last quick question just because I'm interested, are you seeing the most referral traffic to your site from Facebook now?
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Oh, really?
By leaps and bounds, yeah.
Wow, that's super interesting. Cool. So Steph, what about yourself? What are you seeing in terms of success on specific networks?
Sure. So for us, we use every social network, whether it be Tumblr, Google+, Twitter, Facebook, you name it, we use it. And the reason why we do that, again, from like a global standpoint and a global strategy that we have with Contiki, each market and each region has a social network that is more popular. Obviously, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter are our biggest ones that we do use. So the way that we kind of see it is that we want to be able to hit everybody on each touch point. Facebook obviously is really popular for us, and to Alicia and to Vancouver's Awesome's point as well too is or to Bob's point is that there's the networks like Facebook and Twitter that everybody utilizes that we like to utilize, and we do see a lot of traffic that come in through that as well too. So for us, we want to make sure that we hit everybody in every touch point, and as the social scheme changes, we're obviously changing with that as well too. So for a couple of years ago, Twitter was non-existent, and now Twitter is being utilized maybe sometimes more than Facebook is. Right? Instagram popped in, and all of a sudden, we see a lot more attraction on Instagram. So as things kind of change in the social and technology landscape, we kind of change our direction. But for right now, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube, most definitely YouTube, are kind of our top contenders that we work with.
Cool. Oh, sorry, go ahead, Alicia.
No, I would just agree that, yeah, YouTube is also one that's pretty important too now, and I think it's only growing, especially with your ability now to be able to link back right to your website and annotate right from the videos to the website, which is pretty key from a brand perspective. Yeah, I think YouTube is really growing, and it's only going to continue to grow. What kind of content are you guys posting to YouTube?
Do you want to go, Alicia, first? Or?
Oh, sure. I was like, is that for me, Stephanie? Yeah, so...
You can go first, I'll take a second.
Right now we have a big project we're working on, stay tuned, but it basically involves travel tips. We feature a lot of great travel tips from our own staff that is going to be displayed in a very cool way to our audience, and then we're also going to reach out to people for them to be able to submit their travel tips as well. So that's going to be coming down the pipeline. But right now what we've been posting is a lot of destinational content. Our travel consultants are traveling all the time. So we have actually purchased a bunch of GoPro cameras and in-house cameras, and we send our consultants out on all these fam trips and press trips, and we tell them capture as much content as you can. And so we're getting all this user-generated content from our own staff now, which is great, and we're able to put together videos about that. So destinational stuff about tours, even different airlines, and also to our partners like Contiki and stuff will send us videos that we can sort of cut up and post as well. So it's a mixed bag, but we've actually, our most successful series on YouTube, we actually teamed up with travel videographer Mike Corey from Kick the Grind, and we had him do a series of video tips on how to shoot better travel videos. And it was, simple things like, how to choose the best memory card for your camera, how to shoot a time-lapse video, how to do night photography, all that sort of stuff. And it was so well received, and still to this day, it's well over a year old now, and it's still getting thousands of views every single month because YouTube and Google are feeding it up to people that are searching those relevant content terms. And people are always wanting to improve, you know, how they shoot videos and take photos on their trips, and more people are traveling. So, you know, we're definitely just trying to post things that are relevant to our audience that people are going to find useful, rather than just posting something for the sake of posting it. We want people to actually watch it and be like, wow, that was cool, I learned something, thanks for that.
Yeah, it's the same with Contiki as well too. With Contiki, as far as what we post on YouTube, a lot of it, kind of our strategy for anything that we're doing with social media is it's hitting a couple of touch points. So we'll post it up on Facebook, it'll be a part of Instagram, it'll be a part of Twitter, and then it'll also be a part of YouTube as well too. So as I was saying earlier, our Contiki storytellers, we posted videos of the storytellers in Costa Rica and documented their experiences from our point of view as well as from their point of view of them posting up their own content. As well with the road trip, same thing. We document and video everything, record everything that's happening on these trips that we go on, and then we post it together. It's almost like a mini movie that we put together. And I think, you know, with tourism specifically, and Bob kind of touched on this, and Alicia, you touched on this as well too, is, you know, the images that come out, right? And for us, those images are amazing to see in picture form, but when you see it in video form, when we have one of our storytellers that's walking through the jungles of Costa Rica, and it's so amazing to see. And I think that this is another layer to the whole social side of who we are as a brand, to show kind of what our story is.
With the vloggers, we'll switch back to them real quick. Are they sending you content that you're gonna own and publish on your networks, or are they invited to post it like on their own YouTube channel?
No, they posted it up on their own YouTube channels. Yeah, they posted up on their own YouTube channels. Yeah, so we have our own videographer that puts together the pieces for Contiki. But no, we've definitely obviously done like user-generated content things in different forms, but the content is separate for majority of the campaigns that we've done recently.
Interesting. I have one quick question from Twitter. I really want to get to it. So if you are on Twitter, we're using hashtag social60. I forgot to mention Bob's Twitter handle is at VIAwesome. So it's Vancouver is awesome. So tweet at him as well.
Sorry, I couldn't get the thing to work on the bottom.
Yeah, Google Plus is having some issues with that, but it's all good. We're all here. So a quick question from Kate. I think her handle is at Kate with 3 T's. Have you guys ever used some of these niche networks like Snapchat and Vine for you know, content or contests or anything like that? Alicia.
Yeah, we played with Vine a little bit in the beginning, but Vine, in my opinion, sort of died off a little bit, if I can be honest. Because I think Instagram, once Instagram launched their video function, everyone just went back to Instagram and started doing their video content there. And Instagram allows you to do, what, 15 seconds now? So I think it allows you to capture a little bit more than just the quick 6 seconds. So really, we've actually been experimenting more and more with Instagram video, kind of doing like little quick video postcards, if you will, from destinations to engage people. And I know a couple other brands that are sort of exploring that area of doing little video postcards and video snaps of things to sort of engage people in a really quick way while they're going through their news feed. So yeah, I haven't done too much in the Snapchat world though, but Vine kind of came and left.
What about you, Bob? Are you a big Snapchatter?
No.
Oh, come on.
I've never loaded it on my phone, so I sort of really don't have an idea of what it does. The idea that you could run a contest through it or promotion kind of boggles my mind. Can you?
I don't know. That's why we're on the panel here.
So,
Figure it out between the four of us.
So, ask the pros.
Yeah.
Sorry.
We do have Vine in a kind of our global social strategy that we're planning on kind of working towards. And again, the global social strategy is that we're on all of these networks, but we're engaged in all of the networks. So it's not like we're only focused on the top 4 and we're ignoring the rest of them. We want to make sure that we're on all of them. Have we done anything specifically with Vine lately? No. In Canada, no. We've stuck to kind of our top 4 that I mentioned. That was Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. And we haven't done much with Snapchat either as well, too. Not to say that we won't. Again, like as I was talking about earlier, you know, things could change in the social landscape. All of a sudden, we'll see Alicia using Vine like every day.
just tearing it up on Vine.
Tearing it up on Vine, ignoring what she just said. But yeah.
we pretty much stick. Yeah, we just stick to Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. We had Pinterest for a bit. Are you utilizing Pinterest at all?
Yeah. So So again, you know, a lot of these social networks. I noticed that this is kind of a trend with businesses as well too. Is that they've kind of all gone onto these social networks and then they've kind of let them go. And for us, you know, we're kind of pulling that back and making sure that we're constantly engaging and posting content on all the networks as well too. So we do have a Pinterest account that we utilize as well. And Pinterest, again, is great for the imagery and clicking back, leading back to the website, right? So as with Flight Center and with you as well too, Bob, you know, everything's kind of clicking back to your website. So whether it be through Pinterest and the images that we post up on there, and I mean, with Pinterest, you can kind of layer out different regions. So whether it be, you know, Contiki Latin America, Contiki Europe, Contiki Asia, Contiki Australia, we can make different kind of pins based on all those. So it works really well.
Cool. Alicia, using Pinterest at all?
Yeah, we use it mostly to complement the blog content that we have going, as well as our YouTube videos. But anytime we have like a new blog post, obviously there's always images in it. So we kind of have different boards for different destinations that we'll pin the appropriate blog into. So we try and update that on, you know, a 3-4 times a week if we can. And then also to featuring any sort of behind the lens series that we have, because we do a lot of different blog series where we interview, you know, Canadian travel photographers and videographers, and sort of just get to know people that travel for a living or travel a lot in their jobs, and even featuring some of our clients. You know, we have a lot of clients that travel for really cool reasons, so to be able to feature them and also pin that to Pinterest as well, that's definitely what we're doing, is complementing our content from our website to Pinterest for sure.
Cool. I'm just going to mention, it looks like we are getting some love on Vine on Twitter, so that really shows what we know, the experts here. Anyways, let's shift gears a bit here. Talk about some measurement, some KPIs, ROI, a bunch of buzzwords. How do you guys measure success on social? What looks good for you, and you know what metrics are you using to keep track of, you know, what's important? Bob, why don't you kick us off?
I mean, to start, obviously, just the amount of followers. Like I said about our Facebook, how it's grown so much. It's you know, it used to be dwarfed by our Twitter account, which is almost at 50,000 followers now. But now it's creeping up slowly. It's at like 41,000, and that's amazing to me that it's coming that far. But you know, so like, but it's not that. It's not just the amount of follows, of course. One of the most important things lately that I've been finding is shares. Like Facebook, if we can get people to share something, that means that it's like, it's beyond clicking like on it. It's beyond even commenting on it. It's them sharing it on their stream, saying like, this is really awesome and you should check this out. So that's sort of like the ultimate. We had a really successful campaign that we did recently that was it was for contest. It was tickets to Pemberton Music Festival, and they were worth $750, and it was you know, just a photo of the lineup, like the list of the lineup, and it said, tag the person that you want to bring to this festival, and in this post as a comment. And so we ended up getting 200 shares, 3,000 likes and 2,500 comments on a single Facebook post. So that was the most successful thing lately that we've done. But yeah, shares.
Wow, that's cool. That's giving me some ideas. It's cool how simple that is. Are you finding other stuff? Like, are you finding in terms of content to your blog? Is there anything in particular that elicits shares?
You know, for us, it's the most random thing. So, you know, like I was going to preface it with this, like about what we do is a little bit different because we're not writing to tourists and we're not geared toward tourism. But you know, 26% of the readers we write towards people that live in Vancouver and love the city. But as a byproduct of that, 26% of the people that are visiting our website come from other places because they want to see what the locals are into. So what was the question again?
Is there any content that elicits?
Oh yeah, okay. Yeah, so the most random of stuff, you know. So recently, one caught fire. Pardon?
Pictures of what you had for lunch?
No. Like really random things that you wouldn't normally notice. Like this one was just kind of silly. Like there's a stop sign that is for some reason not on a stop sign post, but it's on a crazy big thick log, and it's in the middle of the Olympic Village, and it's like something that you wouldn't notice, and it was like this, and it didn't take a ton of time to do. It was like one sentence. This is the most awesome stop sign in all of Vancouver. That's it, in a photo, and that was the blog post, right? And it got like thousands and thousands, like tens of thousands of views, and tons of shares on Facebook, and it just like kind of went viral just because it was so random. And if you appreciate like sort of the little tiny things about your city, then you're sharing it because you think, oh, that's neat. But there was also a sort of like the side product was the hate share, like this is stupid. Why? I don't understand. Why do they think that this is the best stop sign in Vancouver? So it was a sort of combination of people loving it and hating it.
Yeah, I remember seeing that.
Yeah.
It was cool.
What did you think of it? Did you think it was stupid?
Yeah, I thought it was really stupid. I was expecting to have my mind blown, and then I clicked on it. I was like, all right, what's going on here?
There you go. And you shared it, and you were like, this is stupid.
Yeah.
No, but I think going back to the beginning of what I was saying about shares and travel stuff, like that's sort of the beauty of it is most of the time with Instagram, anyways, or with all these visual things, you're not getting people sharing like, oh, look at the crummy bed sheets at the hotel. It's like, oh, they're mostly sharing things that are a positive experience, are they not?
Yeah, I just don't think people would really share if it was something average or negative, unless it was really negative. But yeah, that's a good point.
I find too, like travel news. Anytime, like for example, airlines are constantly, flying to new destinations. So we just recently said, WestJet's now flying to Ireland, and tons of people like, oh my God, that's so exciting, that's amazing, and everyone was sharing it. And I was like, whoa, I didn't expect a simple, news piece to go so viral. But some destinations really resonate with people, and so I think that's why it's important for us to constantly be sharing the travel news, to be sharing our knowledge, and topics that we know are going to engage people. And basically we try and think of when we're creating blog topics and even social posts is someone going to see this in their news feed, and are they going to care? Are they going to want to be likely to share this content? So we always try and think of that as well. Are they going to get something useful from this? Are they going to share it? Or are they going to complete some sort of action like click through to our website? As long as they're doing one of those three things, that it really comes back to the whole ROI, like you were asking, is generally yes, traffic to the website is important, and obviously we track social conversions. That's definitely a huge KPI for us, but it's not everything. It's not all about driving traffic to the site. It's about engagement. It's about keeping people engaged, because even though we have, let's say, 80,000+ people that have liked the Flight Centre Canada Facebook page, not all of them are going to be seeing our updates every day. We know that, especially with the Facebook algorithm. But if we're keeping people engaged about the right topics and and they're going to share our content. We're going to appear in more and more people's news feeds in a very organic way, and I think that's what's more important to us right now. And so our content team is really just ramping up. We've expanded the content team, and we're really just making sure right now that the focus is on getting information out to people and getting the right information out that they're going to want to share.
Interesting.
Another thing I'd like to add is lists. Like, this is the best one. Sort of is an extension of here's 10 of the best things. Like those always do really well for us.
Yeah, we did a post on 5 clever ways to use your phone's camera when you're traveling, and it was like things like screen grabbing maps and stuff like that, and it just went crazy viral. We weren't expecting it to go that big, but it was kind of like something you would see on BuzzFeed, So we're finding a lot of the BuzzFeed type topics are really doing well.
Interesting. Steph, what about you? What are you measuring?
Well, I mean, for measuring, we're similar to most businesses, right? Like, it's the engagement, it's the business generated, it's how many views, likes, shares. It's really a combination of everything. It depends on what you're looking for. You're looking to convert sales, or convert into sales, or is it something from a brand perspective that you're looking to build up your brand? I think that for us, it depends on what the campaign objectives are. And really, at the end of the day, most people's campaign objectives are either building up the brand, or for a tourism perspective, probably similar to the Flight Center as Contiki, is we want people on our trips, right? Or we want, for Flight Center, they want people to be buying flights. Hopefully they're buying Contiki trips at Flight Center, ticking off 2 at the same time. So for us, all those forms of engagement, but was the audience engaged in the campaign as well too? Is it something so compelling? What's in it for me? Or is it something so compelling that I need to share this information with somebody? And we do it on different levels. Like, for example, we're doing a campaign right now that just launched, which is really exciting. It's called Contiki Legends. www.contiki.com/Contiki Legends. And basically what we're doing right now, it's the first part of the campaign that just launched, and we're collecting stories from people that have previously been on Contikis. And Contiki's been around for over 50 years, so there's a whole lot of stories that can come from it. It's not just the millennials that have traveled in the last couple of years. We normally get the stories that come in through our email every once in a while saying, my mother and father met on a Contiki, or my mother was on a Contiki, met her best friend, and now she's sending me on my Contiki when I turn 18, and she's funding it. Like, all these kind of great stories. So for that, that also is kind of an objective when it comes to kind of our measures of successes when it comes to social media, is gathering content from our users and pushing it out to those who are maybe thinking about a Contiki, or they've heard about us but they're not too sure, and so we're kind of generating all these stories with Contiki Legends. So it's kind of a really interesting campaign into what our objectives are, and how we're going to measure that success as well too. So it's building up our brand, but also it's going to end up converting into sales as well too. And I think that for us, it's kind of all-encompassing, building the brand, but then also selling trips as well too.
Cool. Okay, so let's move along then a bit. I think I'm curious personally, and I think some people would be curious as well. What does the structure of your team look like at your respective sort of companies here in terms of like the social team, and how are you doing your social media management? Bob, why don't you start? That might be kind of interesting getting your take compared to the others.
Well, we're a lot smaller than we look, and it's myself and one other person generally that's managing all of it. I handle all the Twitter for our main Twitter account, as well as some of the Facebook stuff. And we've got Jen Perutka, and she picks our daily Instagram post, which goes to the blog, which then goes to the Facebook. She also manages the Facebook, so she's posting most of the things that go there. And that's about it. We have one other person that sort of dips in every once in a while to the Facebook, but yeah, for the official channels, that's pretty much it. Myself and one other person.
Lean. Alicia, what about you?
Okay, so globally, on the Flight Center owns a bunch of brands. So globally, we have like 30 people that are doing social media. But for just the Flight Center brand, we're looking at about 10 people globally. And within Canada, there's basically one full-time, one part-time, and then we have trained 3 of our customer service team members on Hootsuite and getting involved in the social channels as well to monitor. So basically, between all of us, you're looking at about a team of 5, but in reality, it's really just one person sort of doing it full time, and the other ones are sort of assisting in the various different areas. But yeah, I think it's pretty important to make sure that it's not just one person. That's sort of how it started within each country, and at the end of the day, especially when you work in the travel industry, if you're out of office on a trip or maybe you're sick, it's important to have someone there as a backup to be monitoring and engaging people, because yes, you can schedule things, but that's not really true engagement. You can't schedule engagement. You have to be there and have that conversation back with people.
That's exactly what I was just going to say. Jen is away right now, and it's killing me because I'm managing all of it. So if you see us faltering,
yeah.
It's because she's away on holidays right now.
I'm sure you'll be all right. Stephanie, what about you?
So for Contiki Canada, we do have a content and community specialist, and she manages our Twitter. She manages the customer service on it as well too, responding back to anybody that comes in through the Twitter feed. Also managing the Instagram as well too. So as I mentioned earlier before, we do have kind of our global team that we work together with as far as posting the content. So how it kind of works is that, or how it does work, is that we together in each region have our own regional social media strategy. So we have a bunch of contributors that are putting information onto Facebook, running in each market the Twitter handles and the Instagrams as well too. The thing that I think is really unique to Contiki, and I would make this as a suggestion for anybody who's doing anything with social media, is that we have such an engaged team of Contiki employees. So they're posting content as well too. So they might not be managing our direct Contiki Twitter feed, but we have, on Twitter, I'm Contiki Steffi. We've got Contiki Steve. We've got Contiki Tony. We've got Contiki, Lauren. We've got everybody who is working for Contiki having their own Twitter handle. And so kind of our management of it is that, these are all players and these are all team members that know everything about Contiki. So really, it's not just one kind of Twitter feed. You might want to follow me because I might be posting more stuff on kind of the marketing side of things. But then you might want to follow somebody who works in IT with Contiki because you want to know more about the tech side of stuff, or brand, or our tour managers. We have a bunch of our tour managers that are also on as well too. So if you want to know the exact Contiki experience of what it's like to be on the road, or maybe you want to work for Contiki in the future, you can get an inside look to it as well too. So that's kind of the structure of the team. Is we obviously have the people that are managing the actual brand feeds, but then we also have our Contiki employees that are kind of managing and posting their own content from kind of their perspective. So it's like a social army that we have that's global, of a bunch of Contiki people. And
nice.
It actually works really well. No, it works really well. And honestly, it's I know that other brands do it as well too, but to see the social army on Contiki, it's amazing. Especially seeing what somebody who's working for Contiki in Australia is interested in versus in Canada.
That touches on something that I wanted to talk about, which is hiring people from the outside to manage your social. Like I think that comes across as really disingenuous, and the customer kind of can see that, like that it's that person isn't, if they're not embedded in the culture like you guys are. Like I think that's kind of crucial.
It is, and I think that for Contiki again, it's the cultural experience as well too, and I think that hearing firsthand about Contiki from somebody who's been on a Contiki, our staff, like we're going on Contikis. Our social community manager and specialist here in Canada. She's gone in a couple of Contikis now, so she has that voice. She's experienced the product. She knows what it's like to be on a Contiki, and it's from her perspective, but it's also sending out the tactical awareness of things that are going on as well too, which is really important. But it's just painting a picture overall of what the brand is like and what we have to offer through all of our team members, not just one.
Mm-hmm. I agree. I think too, another big part of my job is also, keeping people socialized internally within our company. Yes, it's keeping the clients and customers engaged, but it's also informing people inside our company, since there are like hundreds. We have over 900 consultants across Canada, and they're all working in various different stores in different provinces. So we've actually educated our consultants so that if they choose to, they can operate a Twitter page for their individual store, and we let those guys run autonomously. They can post, obviously we're monitoring, making sure that they're not posting anything inappropriate. They do go through some social media training and, the do's and don'ts, but generally we tell them, let people know what's going on in your shop, what's going on in your neighborhood, connect with people in your local neighborhood using, the hashtag Leslieville or wherever it is that you're living. And that's working really well for our stores. They're able to engage with their clients, one-on-one and with their community and their neighborhoods, which is great. And even the businesses around them, they're tweeting and giving each other things and free cupcakes and all that sort of stuff. And also too, we have we have a little internal hashtag too that we use within our company called Welcome to Our World. Just because Flight Centre is such a great place to work, we win awards every year for being one of the top employers in Canada, and there's a reason. We have a lot of great things that there is going to work for Flight Centre. So we always like to remind our own employees about those sort of fun things about our job. Yes, we get to travel, and that's a great part of our job, but there's also a lot of cool things internally within the company as well. So social, it's internal and external. It's definitely, if you don't have an internal social strategy in place within your company, you should definitely sit down and come up with one, because I think it's hugely important, because if people are happy and they understand the social aspect side of the company, then they will be the greatest brand evangelists and greatest brand ambassadors for you.
That's a great point. Okay, for the sake of time, we're going to move on to what I'm going to call the lightning round here. So quick one-line answers, less than 140 characters so people can tweet your quotes and all that fun stuff. What is the one thing people in tourism should be doing on social media? Bob, let it rip.
Well, the last answer was it get somebody internal, but another answer would be to get a consistent hashtag rolling or participate in one. Like Whistler Unfiltered is one of the best things in the world if you go to Whistler.
Awesome. Stephanie, what about yourself?
For me, the number one thing is get to know your audience. Honestly, it's getting to know your audience, who your audience is. You can find that out through many different ways, but if we're keeping it down to 140 characters, get to know your audience.
Awesome. And Alicia, what about yourself?
Listen, listen, listen. Always listen to your audience, and don't just listen. You have to talk back to them. There's so many brands out there where these people are talking to them, and I see their Facebook pages and I see their tweets, and they're not answering these people back. So make sure you're listening and you're responding back to these people, even if it's an uncomfortable conversation to have. Not everyone's going to come to you with positive feedback. So have a plan in place, even if it's negative feedback, to address that person and turn it into a positive experience. Because if someone's not happy with your service, this is the ability for you to showcase how great your service can be, and that you do want to make it up to them in the future, and that this is a great product or whatever it is that you're selling. So definitely listen and engage. And I would have to go back to Bob's point about a hashtag. Get a hashtag. If you don't have a hashtag, people aren't going to know how to, engage with you when they're traveling or whatnot. This is especially true for tourism boards. Pretty much every tourism board has a hashtag, and they're becoming widely known not just within the travel industry, but by users. Visit Jamaica, explore Alberta. These are all things now that are becoming common terms that people are using now, and I think it's pretty important to have a hashtag for sure.
Yeah, for Contiki, no regrets is our hashtag that we use on everything, and it really encompasses kind of everything that we do. We live life with absolutely no regrets, so we hashtag no regrets on everything. Well,
our hashtag is Vancouver is awesome, and it doubles as our brand and just a statement that you're making as you're shooting an awesome photo of the city.
Yeah, yeah.
I like that. Branded and unbranded hashtags are both acceptable. Okay, well, with that, we actually have a bunch more questions on both our Google Plus page and on Twitter that we didn't get a chance to get to. But rest assured, everyone, we're going to answer all of your questions. If our panelists can agree to it, I'm going to invite them to go and answer some of these questions on Twitter and Google Plus, just to make sure that we can really make sure everyone's questions are answered.
Listen, listen, listen.
Yeah, they're going to practice some good listening here. And yeah, but thanks for joining us on our Social Media for Tourism panel here. We really had a good time, and hopefully you learned at least one thing from this that you can take home. So yeah, with that, enjoy the rest of your summer. This was Alicia from Flight Center, Bob from Vancouver is Awesome, and Stephanie from Contiki. My name's Connor, I'm from Hootsuite. But yeah, thank you very much, guys, and we will see you at the next one, hashtag Social60. All right, have a good day, guys.
Bye, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Bye.